You're about to uncover the true story behind one of the most famous candies on the planet. A candy you've probably eaten without even thinking twice. A candy so small and innocent it fits in the palm of your hand, yet hides one of the most sophisticated production chains in the global food industry. We're talking about M&M's, that colorful button, crunchy on the outside, creamy on the inside, that cracks between your teeth and melts on your tongue. But what lies behind this little explosion of flavor? What really happens inside the factories where billions of M&Ms are made every year? Get ready because this story goes far beyond what you could imagine. It all starts with a sacred ingredient, chocolate. But not just any chocolate. The one used inside an M&M must follow an exact formula. It's a highly controlled recipe made from a precise mix of cocoa, powdered milk, sugar, and cocoa butter, all in carefully calculated proportions. Mars, the company behind M&M's, keeps the full recipe a secret, but we do know it has been perfected over decades to resist heat, transport, and still melt in your mouth at just the right pace. The goal is simple. Keep the unmistakable taste and texture consistent anywhere in the world, under any climate. The chocolate arrives at the factory in large blocks or in liquid form, depending on the production stage. It's melted in giant, stainless steel tanks where rotating agitators ensure a perfectly even blend. The temperature is kept with surgical precision, between 45 degrees C and 50 degrees C. Any fluctuation, and the chocolate loses its shine, taste, and stability. At this stage, the chocolate is still considered raw, so it goes through a process called conching, which is essentially extreme refining. For hours, sometimes days, the chocolate is stirred and heated until it reaches an ultra-smooth consistency. We're talking about particles smaller than 20 microns. This ensures that when you pop an M&M into your mouth, it feels perfectly smooth, with no grit. Once the chocolate is ready, the molding phase begins. But unlike chocolate bars or bonbons, M&M's aren't made in molds. They're formed by drip, casting. The chocolate is dropped onto a cooled conveyor belt, forming small drops. These drops pass through cooling tunnels where temperature and humidity are obsessively controlled. If the air is too dry, the chocolate cracks. Too humid, and it melts. The aim is to create small, flattened spheres, like little chocolate lenses. Then comes the most fascinating stage of production, the sugar coating. This process has a name. It's called panning. The chocolate drops are placed into massive rotating steel drums, much like high-tech washing machines. Inside, the pieces are agitated while being coated with ultra-thin layers of sugar syrup. These are sprayed by computer-controlled jets that dispense precise milliliters at each phase. After every application, warm air dries the surface. Then, another layer, more drying, and so on. This process is repeated 20 to 30 times. Each sugar layer is microscopic, but together they form that signature crunchy shell. At this point, M&M's are still white, almost like medicinal tablets. Now they get their color. And here comes another high-tech step. The coloring drum. Each color, red, blue, green, yellow, orange, and brown, is applied in separate stages. Edible food-safe dyes, approved by organizations like the FDA and EFSA, are diluted and sprayed in ultra-fine mist. The drum rotates at a constant speed, ensuring every M&M gets the same color intensity. Meanwhile, optical sensors scan the line to verify that colors are applied in specific proportions. Yes, each pack has a standard color distribution. No, it's not random. After coloring, the M&Ms go through polishing. They're coated with a carnauba wax solution, the same wax used to shine apples. This wax is 100% edible and gives the candies that glossy, shelf-ready shine. The polishing happens inside soft-lined drums and lasts 15 to 30 minutes. After this, the M&Ms are ready for the final touch, the M print. Printing the M is one of the most delicate stages. of production. They use a miniature offset rotary printing process. Think of tiny industrial printers operating at lightning speed, stamping each candy with edible white ink. The precision is astounding. The M must be centered, crisp, and consistent. If the ink is faded or smudged, the candy is instantly discarded. This happens in fractions of a second. High-speed cameras inspect each M&M individually for quality, and if you think that's the end, it's only just beginning. Once finished, M&M's go to the packaging line. They're carried by vibrating belts that organize the candies into rows. Sensors weigh each portion and release them into packaging units. The machines are so precise, they can measure 48G servings with just 0.1G variation. Packs outside the standard weight are automatically rejected. Bags are sealed with heat, labeled with dates, and marked with traceability codes. Each pack can be traced back to the exact minute it was made, the batch of chocolate used, and even the printer that stamped the M on that candy. But the most surreal part? The safety measures. M&M factories are as secure as pharmaceutical labs. Employees pass through metal detectors, hairnets, anti-static clothing, special shoes. It's all mandatory. The environment is sealed, with air pressure controlled to prevent dust and bacteria from entering. Every production line is made of sterilizable stainless steel. If even a single grain of sand or a microscopic metal particle is detected, alarms are triggered and the entire line shuts down. At the end of the line, metal detectors and X-ray scanners inspect every sealed package. If any foreign object, a screw, a staple, or even a tiny shard is found, the entire batch is discarded. Mars takes safety so seriously that every factory undergoes frequent internal and external audits. Any error can lead to temporary plant shutdown. Once packaged, the M&Ms are placed into boxes, stacked on pallets by robots, moved to climate-controlled chambers, and finally sent to distribution centers around the world. Everything is tracked in real time, with temperature sensors, tracking chips, and a logistics system that ensures M&Ms always arrive fresh, crisp, and perfect, from the Canadian Rockies to the deserts of the Middle East. And perhaps the most fascinating part is realizing that this massive operation, which generates billions in revenue each year, all revolves around a candy that weighs just a few grams. A product you can buy for under $2. A seemingly ordinary treat, but one that is the result of science, engineering, design, and an obsession with excellence. So, the next time you open a bag of M&Ms, pause for a moment. Really look at those colorful little pieces. Remember the journey they took to reach you, because behind each one there's an invisible story. And here, we tell it like it really is. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the M&M factory, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and leave a comment below telling us which food you want to see unveiled next. Because when done, right, the simplest things hide the most mind-blowing secrets.